Call the meeting to order of this agenda briefing. We'll have an invocation tomorrow. We have several presentations. We have a consent agenda of C1 is approval of the minutes. C2 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction agreement with WB Brawley Company of Wilmington, NC in the amount of $740,615 for the reconstruction of MP Park tennis courts 1 through 8. And budget impact is $740,615. C3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a professional services agreement with Pivot of North Carolina Incorporated in the amount of up to $2,476,317 for the comprehensive parking management services or parking and convention center funds.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
We have a presentation for you to just see this. We can either do it now or we can do it at the close of the meeting.
Well, I think we ought to do it now, but before we do that, I do need to do a roll call, and I forgot to do that. Mayor Pro Tem, are you here? Councilman Reinbark? Yes. Here. Councilmember Anderson is absent. Councilmember Barnett is here. Councilmember Spears is here.
Here.
And Councilmember Waddell is here. And the chair is here. Okay, Mr. Caudle?
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to call on Chance Dunbar to come forward and do this presentation. It shouldn't take but just a couple of minutes.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Councilman Waddell, you okay up there? Are we good? All right. Quick presentation this morning about the Comprehensive Parking Services RFP and staff recommendation. Quick RFP recap. The last time we put this RFP out successfully for parking services was back in 2012, 11 years ago. Previous to that, I believe it was 2008. Same parking services contractors have been in place now for, I think, 16 years. We issued a new RFP back in September and was ultimately rejected by City Council due to some technicalities that we received from the proposers and really a lack of competitive process there. Most recently, we issued the new RFP back in January of 2023 with proposals being due on March the 2nd. And then just high level, these services include the administration of both the on and off street parking operations within the parking enterprise and convention center funds, including approximately 3,200 spaces and 60 blocks of on-demand enforcement. And those 60 blocks are along 4th and 5th Street, really, just enforcement on those blocks where we don't have actively managed parking. When we put the RFP back out in January, we made some substantial changes. The biggest is really how the resulting contract was going to be set up. Currently, and for the last 16 years, if not longer, it's been set up with a flat fee for the contractor, meaning city has been paying a set fee for all of these services, and whether they spend the money or not, the city's still paying that fee for those services. We have flipped this to a management deal with the majority of this contract being reimbursable expenses and then a flat management fee on top. And a good example of where the city will potentially see some savings and say the contractor maybe won't see as much profit out of this is payroll. So the way it's set up now, if the contractor has a staffing shortage, someone quits, they don't hire a new replacement for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that money in savings goes back in the parking contractor's pocket. The way it's going to be set up now, it's a reimbursable. So if we're not paying that staff member, there's a staffing shortage, then that's going to be savings back to the city with how it's now going to be set up. City did issue and develop the actual operating budget for the contractor. We put a 5-year proposed budget in place. We have a revised organizational structure and a revised pay scale for the parking contractor staff. We've increased the frontline staff from $15 an hour to $18 an hour, and pretty much across the board and all the other positions, we have kind of put out there a 15 to 20% increase for all the other staffing positions within the contractor's staffing role. And I think all in, I think we have 25 full-time positions budgeted for the new contract in year one. The city received 5 very, very good proposals from qualified management service contractors. Internal staff shortlisted the 5 down to 3. We then interviewed the top 3 with a selection committee, and just to emphasize, all 3 of the top 3 submitted very, very competitive proposals. There really wasn't a bad choice here. We were very pleased with what we received. Quick snapshot of that operations budget that the city has put out there within this contract. Year 1 with both parking and the convention center funds, we got right at $2.3 million. Over the course of the 5-year term, operational budget, which is the reimbursable lines, $12.7 million. And down to the 5 contractors that submitted their management fee proposals. Just a snapshot there. Pivot was the lowest of the 5 by about 7%, and then next in line ranged about a 7% difference between number 1 and number 2, up to nearly an 81% difference. Yes, sir.
Is their management fee determined by income, percentage of income, or what's the term?
Yeah, the way we put it out in the RFP, the management fee is going to be profit. All vehicle expenses that are required by the contract, i.e. the lease fee for the vehicles, all insurances, all home office expenses, payroll processing, stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you.
And based upon an understanding of the services to be provided, a very strong local support team based in New Hanover County, and the lowest cost, Pivot Parking or Pivot of NC Inc. is the recommended vendor. Pivot is the current parking operator for Wrightsville Beach, Carolina Beach, Surf City, North Myrtle Beach. So very strong local presence. Also have some regional presence elsewhere, Charlotte, Greenville, South Carolina, Richmond. But home office is based here in New Hanover County. And just to recap, year 1 operations budget, which is the reimbursable line, $2.3 million. Pivot's management fee, first year, $139,257, with the year 1 total, $2.4,760,316.34. And that is both the convention center and the parking enterprise fund, all inclusive there. Staff recommendation is going to be a 1-year contract with 2 built-in 2-year extension clauses. We also have a 60-day cancellation planned in there, just to give the city a little bit more control, just in case things do go wrong, if they do go wrong, and a commencement date of July the 1st, 2023 of this year. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, Council.
Mr. Waddell.
Assuming we'll amend this budget should the purchase of the acquisition of Thermo Fisher go through. That budget's going to be significantly different with a lot more revenue.
Yeah, we've put in the operational side of that budget with the manager's budget, but we will have to come back with an amendment to Pivot's contract with their management fee and maybe a few other things in July or August.
We'll have a provision in there to change it if business changes, right?
Correct. Yes, sir. Great question.
All right, Chance, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Public hearings is public hearing for year 2024 annual action plan for CDBG and home funds, and it's a public hearing only on the PH1. And then PH2 is an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city to rezone property containing 2.44 acres of land located at 2402, 2406, 2420 South 17th Street and 1608 Wellington Avenue from O&I Office and Institutional District and CBCD Community Business Conditional District to CBCD Community Business Conditional District for general retail use with associated fuel pumps and a restaurant. Yes, sir. Mr. Robert.
I guess that would be Brian.
Yes, sir.
When we do these changes and structuring the zoning, it's a little confusing to me. Can you explain to me why the existing zoning would not work? Because we have restaurants in there, we have office, what have you. Is it the fuel that's driving this change to a CD conditional district for all the property?
Right, so there's an existing O&I district with no conditions, and there's an existing CBCD with conditional district. that limits that portion of the property to the structure and the uses that are allowed. The whole site would have to come under a new district, and I think it's a combination of both the retail and the fuel islands that would allow for the proposal.
Would that fuel island, or would the proposed use, would it work under a straight O&I?
It would not, no.
Okay, so everything has to be brought under one umbrella of CD?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. And the portion that is presently zoned O&I is the shopping center itself?
Now, the portion that's zoned O&I is the old Pizza Hut site on the corner.
Okay, what is the shopping center? Is it under the CBCD?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm not trying to split hairs here, Brian. I'm just trying to get my head wrapped around it. The corner, the old Pizza Hut, that could not fold into the existing zoning on the balance of the property? Is that what? Because everything other than the old Pizza Hut is now zoned what?
Everything but the Pizza Hut is zoned, well, there's a property behind the Pizza Hut that's O&I, and the remainder is the CBCD condition.
So the shopping center itself and the Parham Insurance Agency are zoned CBCD?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This person, just for grins and giggles, this person could actually do what he wants to do on those particular properties without even coming to us. Is that correct?
They're conditioned to what's there now, so it would
Okay,
be
so
that strip center with the 4 or 5 units that are in there.
But it would merely have to be amended. It wouldn't be
You would
changing.
have to, yes, you have to amend your conditional district for the new use, yes.
Okay, but it wouldn't be changing the existing zoning. It would just be amending it.
Right, it would be a modification to a new use and new site plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The PH 3A is an ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the city of Wilmington, North Carolina. And then that is accompanied by item PH 3B, which is an ordinance amending the official zoning map of the city to initially zone property containing 1.87 acres of land located at 5029 Carolina Beach Road to MD 17 CD high-density multi-dwelling residential district, conditional district for a 56-unit multi-dwelling senior housing development. And that PH3C is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter an agreement with Terrier Development LLC for gap financing for affordable workforce housing utilizing $1 million of HUD home funds. Ordinances 01 is an ordinance authorizing the transfer of $40,000 from the city council contingency account for costs of installation of a guardrail along Greenville Loop Road. This is coming from council's contingency. And then item 02A is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a sub-guarantee agreement with the North Carolina Housing Coalition Housing Counseling Network in the amount of $15,706 of grant funds from HUD's 2022 Comprehensive Housing Counseling Grant Program Notice of Fund Availability. Then item 02B, which is the ordinance making the supplemental appropriations in the amount of $15,706 to the Special Purpose Fund to support costs associated with housing counseling programs. And that concludes this agenda.
Mr. Mayor, we don't have any presentations for you this morning. You do have several committee meetings after this. Appointments will meet first, audit second, and naming will meet third.
Okay, very good. The first was
Appointments.
appointments. Okay, very good. With that,
It'll be downstairs.
okay, very good. With that, we stand adjourned.